You know no one's going to know who you are once you take off this uniform. People are not going to respect you the same once you retire. Hold up. Let's just sit with that for a moment. Imagine giving over 24 years of your blood, sweat, and if I'm real, a lot of tears. And bam, someone hit you with that as a farewell speech? It was in that moment that I realized my commander had no clue who I was. But before I take you to that moment, I want to take you and tell you about this wild and beautiful and sometimes exhausting journey that got me there. Hi, I'm Senior Master Sergeant Camille Thomas, U.S. Air Force retired, your 2025 Shero Coffee Club ambassador. Joining the military was hands down one of the best decisions I've ever made. It gave me opportunities that few people in my family ever had. I learned a valuable skill, aircraft maintenance, specifically non-destructive inspection, where I check for foreign object damage, water entrapment, inclusions, and even structural integrity, potentially saving the lives of thousands and thousands of people. I developed my leadership, supervisory, and management skills, and it shaped me into the leader that I am today. In addition to that, I fell in love with writing. Now, not in the way that most people may think, but writing award-winning packages, programs, and performance reports really helped me to realize that I had a gift for storytelling. And who knew that it would be the seed for my future? And let's talk about the travel, okay? I was able to live overseas in Japan and Guam and England and immerse myself in the culture, which helped me to see the world in a whole new way. I had 6 deployments under my belt, some rough, some tough, some rewarding, but all of them full of lessons that I would not trade for anything in the world. And the experiences, I'm talking about from high profile missions to once in a lifetime opportunities. Who could shake their head at that? But, and this is a big but, it wasn't all adventure and growth. There were times that it was very challenging, and challenging in a way that I did not expect. Let's be real. I spent most of my career in a white male dominated field. And many times I was the only one of me in the room, the only woman, the only black woman or person of color, and the only black woman leading men who didn't always want to follow. And that was not easy at all. I had to work twice as hard, just to be seen as good enough. I had to prove myself over and over again, even when my work spoke for itself. And I was passed over for promotion while those that I trained actually got ahead. And to top it off, I was known as the cleanup woman. They would send me into sections to go fix the section that was failing. And then I had to turn around and watch somebody else who was removed take credit for the work that I did. And I thought that's just how it was going to be, how it always was supposed to be. Until one day, I realized it didn't have to be. 2020, I was tired, mentally, physically, emotionally. I had just got back from a groundbreaking, history-making deployment because who wouldn't want to make history before calling it quits, right? But anyway, one day I was in my office and I was exhausted. I was still healing from my surgeries and I was tired from the mission. And the phone rang and I answered it, and it was my chief. And he was ranting about something that was outside of my responsibility. And something in that moment just clicked. And I thought, I don't gotta take this no more. And so once we hung up the phone, I pulled out my computer very calmly. I pulled up virtual MPF and I hit the button. And y'all know what button I'm talking about too. That retirement button. Yes, that right there was it for me. Not even 5 minutes later, the phone rang, and it was my commander secretary. And she said, "No, you didn't." And I started laughing. I said, "What?" She said, "Did you really just press the retirement button?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, I did." And of course, the next few minutes I was walking into my commander's office. And as soon as I walked in, he said to me, "What can I do to make you stay?" And I said, "Sir, absolutely nothing. I've made up my mind." And then he hit me with this line. Not what I expected when you tell somebody you're retiring, but he leaned in and he said, "Now you know when you take off that uniform, nobody's going to know who you are. People are not going to respect you once you retire." I knew my commander didn't know who I was. And so I said, I see what's going on here. And with all of the respect I could muster, I said, sir, obviously you don't know who I am. Every day I walk out of that gate, I know who I am. I'm Camille. And if you think the military is going to make or break me, you got me all wrong. But I can show you better than I can tell you. And when I walked out of that office, I knew I had made the right choice. Now, I'm not going to lie. The decision was very abrupt. So I had no job lined up, no plan in place, no safety net. And all I had were the words that God put in my spirit when I decided to retire, when He let me know that it was my time. And those words were, I got you. If you trust me, I'm going to blow your mind. That was it. That was the entire plan. And so with that, I just took a leap of faith. I traded in my combat boots for a pen and paper, and I went from aircraft maintenance to a writer and editor. And fast forward, I just want to share with you what happens when you stop waiting on someone else to validate you and you walk in your purpose. To date, I've helped over 50 authors write and publish their books, with many of them going on to becoming bestsellers and earning regional and international awards. I've traveled internationally extensively. I met dignitaries. I've worked with the UN, and I've been able to share stories that have changed laws and lives. And not to mention, I have become a 2025 Shero Coffee Club ambassador, something that I don't take lightly. And I get to share my story to inspire others to bet on themselves. Bet on yourself. And for that, I'm so grateful. Now tell me again how no one was going to know me when I took off that uniform. Excuse me while I go succeed. Now let's talk about you, because I know someone watching this is struggling with taking that leap. Maybe it's leaving your current job. Maybe it's stepping into a new career. Or maybe it's just believing that you are more than what they told you. And if that's you, I need for you to hear me, and I need you to hear me real good. You are not your job title. You are not your past. And you are not limited to what other people see in you. And I'm going to say it one more time. You are not your job title. You are not your past. And you are not limited to what other people see in you. The world will try to box you in, and it'll have you thinking that you're not valuable outside of that system, that institution, that job title, and that role. But let me tell you this. You were somebody before you ever put on a uniform, a badge, a title, or stepped into whatever role that you're in. And you will be somebody long after you take all that off. The military gave me skills, but God gave me purpose. And when I stopped doubting my worth and stepped into my, purpose, took that leap of faith, my life didn't just change. It exploded with possibilities, and yours can too. So if you're standing at a crossroads, unsure of what's next, let me be the one to tell you, girl, step into your calling. And if anyone ever tries to tell you that you'll be nothing without that title, that uniform, or that job, here's what you do. You look at them and smile. You sip on your coffee. And you tell them, I can show you better than I can tell you. Excuse me while I go succeed. Cheers to stepping into your greatness.